What's up, folks? Dan here from BeAGameCharacter.com. We're back again with Q&A Tuesday. Got my water cup and ready to go. I'm excited. We got a lot of questions today, so we're going to jump right in. If you're on Facebook Live, please feel free to ask more questions while we're at it. And we're going to jump in with your name. Hey, Dan, this week's question you asked a big one because I have so many nutrition questions. Okay, I'm sorry. Yes, last week's question was just ask me any questions about nutrition that you have that you're not sure of. So we're going to go in with this with your name. I guess the one thing I'm confused about is why does everyone try to complicate things? For example, I'll show a friend my diet and then they'll lecture me about some mystery chemical that I've never heard of. So is there anything else besides the basics, protein, carbs, fats, calorie count, that people often forget about? All right, so that's a two-part answer here. First of all, people overcomplicate things because they want to sell you stuff. That's it. More broadly, people overcomplicate things because when people want to lose weight, especially, but also gain muscle, they want a magic bullet. They want something that's quick and fast. They want somebody to put out and say it's because of toxins in your diet, and if you drink this green stuff, you're going to flush your toxins and then you'll lose weight. When in reality, losing weight is because you're just, if you're gaining weight, you're eating too much food. That's it. Too many calories. I'm sorry. I wish I could make it easier for you, but that's just the way it is. So people want to sell you shit. That's why. That's why it's overcomplicated. That's why people make it ridiculous, as far as like all these different cleanses you see and all these different diets. That's it. So they want to sell you stuff. Now, granted, I sell stuff too, but I like to think I sell the straight poop. I sell the basic, straightforward. And you know what? The other thing is you can get all the information that you need to lose weight, gain muscle, shape your body however you want off of my blog for free. If you buy RPG Fitness, whatever, that's a much more condensed, concise, and streamlined and well flushed out version. But honestly, you get all the information just by watching the videos and reading the blog. So that's the deal. People overcomplicate it because they want to sell you stuff. Now, as far as other stuff you should worry about that people often forget about, besides protein, carbs, fats, and calorie count, you do have micronutrients to worry about. Like if you just, this is going to be gross, but if you just drank protein shakes, ate plain oatmeal, and, drank vegetable oil to get your protein and your carbs and your fats, you would slowly become malnourished. You'd get all the macronutrients you need, but you would not be getting any of the vitamins and minerals that you need, like as a person. So you would start to feel run down. You might start to have skin issues or hair issues or fingernail issues. You might start to have digestive problems, all kinds of stuff like that. So yes, there are micronutrients you need to worry about. But for the most part, if you eat a varied diet, like you just get, you get your protein, your fat, and your carbs, but you get it by eating a variety of vegetables and meats and dairy and stuff like that, you don't have to worry about that stuff because generally you get it from what you eat, especially if you're eating plenty of fruits and vegetables. If you're really that concerned, you can go and grab a grocery store multivitamin and take that on top of like all the other stuff. But honestly, for the most part, for 99% of the human population, if you're not looking to compete at like the upper echelon of sports or bodybuilding or strength training or whatever, then all you really need to worry about is your protein, your fats, your carbs, your calories, and just to eat a variety of foods, lots of fruits and veggies, stuff like that. So that's your main priority. You can worry about other stuff you want when you get real into it, like once you have your nutrition super nailed down, you can fine tune if you want, and I'm always happy to help you with that if you want to email me, but for the most part, get the basics, eat a variety, you'll cover the rest. Another question I have is, what martial artist is an inspiration to you? Don't say Bruce Lee. Nothing wrong with him. He's an inspiration to everyone. Okay, yeah, all right, I won't say Bruce Lee, but it is Bruce Lee, but I won't say just Bruce Lee. I'm going to mess up his name, but there was a judo guy, Matsushiro, I forget, Kimura, the guy who the Kimura arm lock that you hear of in jiu-jitsu and MMA is named for. He was actually a judoka. He was a total badass. Just look him up. If you just look up Kimura, I know I've got the last name correct. I'm just messing up the first name. But if you look him up, he fought some of the original Gracies. His stuff is just ridiculous. Like, his Ippon Seoinage, which is a very, not Ippon Seoinage, his Osotogari, which is a very basic judo throw, one of the first ones you learn, was so strong, he was known to knock people out with it. Like, just knock them straight unconscious by throwing them on the ground. He would practice it against trees. That was how he practiced his Osotogari. So when he went and faced the Gracies in Brazil, because he did go and face the Gracies in Brazil, they put down extra padding in the ring because they knew that if he threw, I think it was, who was the first Gracie? I have to know this now. Who was the first of the Gracie family? The first guy, I can't believe I'm blanking on this. I'm looking through Wikipedia now. Not Helio, maybe? I don't know, whatever. The first guy, the guy who really established the Gracie brand as the family, faced off against Kimura. So when they faced off, they put down extra padding so he didn't knock him out. And then he put the Kimura arm lock on him at one point in one of their matches. And Gracie's a badass too, so Gracie didn't tap. So Kimura, either, according to different accounts, either broke his arm or dislocated his elbow because Kimura wouldn't tap, because Gracie wouldn't tap. So total badass. Go out, look up Kimura. He's awesome. One of my inspirations. I love reading about him and learning all kinds of stuff about him. He's very, very cool. So there you go, martial artist inspiration. So have an amazing week, Dan. Thank you. Your name. You have an amazing week as well. Moving on, we have Anonymous Bob123 who says, question for you, Dan. Now that the Olympics have started, if you were to go back and compete in the Olympics, which event would you choose? All right, well, I'm 5'9" or 5'10" on a good day. So I wouldn't pick track and field, probably. Most track and field events, at least. As far as like running and jumping type events, I just don't have the build for that. I'm not a runner. You know, I'm not a big jumper. It's just who I am. I could do hammer throw. I actually love hammer throw. I would love to do hammer throw. So that would be one. Hammer throw would be one. Judo. I love judo. I would go back and do judo if I could. Here's a little secret. I started in karate, and karate is always my first love in the martial arts and whatnot. But if I could go back and do it all again, I would enroll 3-year-old me in judo and start karate way later. Like, I would do judo first and then karate. And I don't even have my black belt in judo, and unfortunately I don't have the time to devote to getting my black belt right now. But so I think that would really be it. If I was going to compete in a Summer Olympic event, it would be judo. But if I had to pick an event overall that I would do out of all the Olympics, I would do ski cross. I love the Winter Olympics. I love skiing. So if I had to pick summer, it would be judo. If I had to pick Olympics overall, it would be ski cross, because, and I know it's a new event, so I would only be able to compete in it relatively recently, but slalom skiing doesn't really interest me. The jumps and stuff and tricking doesn't really interest me, but I love ski cross. It's super fun to watch. I would love to do ski cross. So that would be my overall Olympic event if I had to pick, if I had my druthers. So moving on, thank you, Anonymous Bob, for a great question. I loved that one. Next up, we've got Addy Red, and Addy Red asked a big two-parter here, so we're going to start off, and then Son Goku actually commented, so how am I going to read this? All right, so Addy Red's first part question. I really enjoyed this episode, and I like the way you answer all the questions, and I really have to thank you for taking your time and maybe doing one of my biggest idols on your page, Krillin. You are very welcome. Glad you enjoyed that episode. So that being said, my question this week is if comparing each other to other people is a good or bad habit, because there's some people that might get motivated by it, and some just feel bad about themselves by doing that. Well, you got it right. Honestly, when you ask the question, for some people it works, for some people it doesn't. The healthiest thing to do is to compare yourself to yourself. That is absolutely, mentally speaking, the most healthy option. Don't worry about how you match up to other people. Worry about how you match up compared to who you were, yesterday. However, I am a super competitive person. If you're competing against other people in sports or something like that, then absolutely comparing yourself to other people will motivate the crap out of you. Like, I love being competitive, and I love competing, and honestly, I'm not that good at sports, unfortunately. But I'm super competitive, so in that sense, comparing myself to other people always gets my blood going. Not like I wish I had six-pack abs like that guy, but, I wish I could throw a football like that guy, or I wish I could throw that guy like he throws me. All right, I'm pretty good at martial arts. I guess that's a sport, if you're going to count it. But, so in that respect, being competitive is excellent. Comparing yourself quantitatively to another human being and measuring your personal worth according to that is not great. And I would advise, if you're going to compare yourself to who you were yesterday or last week or last year, which is why, by the way, it's so important to keep a detailed log of your workout and your diet program and stuff like that, because looking back and seeing how far you've come is honestly one of the most motivating things for me to do. So that was Eddie Red's first part. Then Son Goku comes in and says, I love Krillin too, man. For my whole life, I was the little guy in my class, and my only dream was to become a good martial artist and fight stronger guys than me in tournaments. I would enjoy a be like Krillin too, because there are just so many of us that can relate to that. So great idea. I agree. I think Krillin's going to happen soon. A lot of people seem to be into that, and for a long time, for most of my life, I was the smaller guy in martial arts as well. I still am the smaller guy. All the guys I tested for black belt with, except for one, are taller than me now. Because I was the oldest person in my black belt group at 17. The rest of them were all like 16 and 15. So when we were testing, and they're all taller than me now. They're jerks. They're all super tall, and I hate them all. But so I understand, sympathize with that completely. So yeah, I think Krillin's going to happen soon. Moving on, Addy Red has a second part. I also got a question regarding nutrition and working out that you can maybe help with. In the last 3 months, I decided to lose some weight using intermittent fasting, which is basically 8 hours of eating and 16 of fasting. After the fasting period, I work out in the morning after waking up on an empty stomach, and also train some hours before I eat my last meal for the day. After these 3 months, I lost a lot of weight, but didn't reduce the fat in my face area, and also a lot of people told me that I lost a lot of muscle, even though I ate a lot of protein and carbs in those 8 hours of eating. The only supplement I took was an L-carnitine pre-workout. Is there any way I could lose the chubbiness in my face without having to lose so much weight that my whole body is getting a more muscular body? All right. I know the question is kind of complicated. It would help a lot if you could give me some tips. Thank you. So, intermittent fasting is good for some people. If you're going to do it, make sure you actually read up on it a lot. I haven't covered it on the blog yet, but maybe I will soon. So it works really well for some people. There's some science behind it as well, which is cool. Just to touch on something real quick, working out while fasted, like working out on an empty stomach after you haven't eaten anything for a while, doesn't do anything for you. There's no scientific evidence that you're going to burn more fat or whatever faster if you do that. That's a common misconception. So don't worry about that. But that does not mean that intermittent fasting is bad. Intermittent fasting on the whole is very productive for some people, so that works. As far as losing fat in your face, you can't spot reduce. You can't lose fat in a certain area of your body. Your body will lose fat at the rate that it loses fat throughout the whole body, and, you know, whatever, that's it. So if you want to get six-pack abs and you're working out and you're only losing fat in your thighs, you just have to keep losing fat. Eventually, your body will use up the fat in your thighs and move on to the fat covering your abs. If you want to lose fat in your face and you're working out, and you're only losing it from your stomach, but your face isn't actually losing any of the fat, you're going to have to just keep burning fat. Now, there is a caveat to that, which is your facial structure obviously is not going to shift. Like the way that your bones are and the way that your face is constructed is not going to shift. If you have fatty deposits in your face, which a lot of people do when they're overweight, you will lose that fat eventually if you just keep losing weight and burning fat. But you're going to have to just keep losing fat overall. There's no way to spot reduce, unfortunately. As far as maintaining muscle tone and maintaining muscle size while losing weight, first of all, I wouldn't necessarily take the word of other people on whether or not you lose weight, because if you're not measuring yourself quantitatively, you have no way of knowing. If you just ask people like, hey, do I look like I lost muscle? It's a horrible way to judge whether or not you actually lost muscle. You can do stuff like tape measurements on your arms and legs and stuff like that and your chest to find out if you lost muscle mass, but also you have fatty deposits in and around your muscles as well. So as you're losing weight, if you were overweight before, as you're losing weight, your muscles are going to shrink down a bit. Not your muscles, but I mean like your arm. Like right there you can see I'm at, I would say probably around 20% body fat right now. You can see I don't have too much definition. You can see a little bit there. As I lose more weight, because I'm cutting right now, this is going to shrink a bit. It's going to get a little smaller because I'm going to lose whatever fat is in here. You can see there is a little bit, some of that skin, but some of it's fat. There is a little fat in there, so I will lose overall diameter of the arm. However, when you get cut, when you get shredded, you know, all right, we got unflexed and flexed. So when you get shredded, you will look bigger even if by diameter your arms are smaller, because the definition makes you look bigger. So that's another reason why just visually looking at somebody is not a way of telling if they've lost muscle or not. So if you kept your protein nice and high and you continued strength training while you were losing fat, chances are you may have reduced in size, but that's just because you were losing fat. You weren't losing that much muscle. So guidelines for keeping fat while cutting: eat at least a gram of protein for your lean muscle mass weight, which is going to be less than your overall weight. But the general guideline is 1 gram for every pound that you weigh. So if you're 150 pounds, try and eat 150 grams of protein. You can go a little under it, but you want to eat a lot of protein, first off. You need to keep working out. You need to keep those muscles stimulated, because otherwise, if you're not working out regularly with heavy weights like you were before you were cutting, your body is going to requisition those muscles. It's going to say, well, you know, we need some energy. We're going to take it from the muscles as well as the fat. So you need to keep using those muscles so your body knows that it needs those muscles. And so as you're working out, you want to make sure that you try and stay at the level of weight that you were lifting before. You're probably not going to keep adding weight onto your lifts while you're cutting, but you need to keep working out so you maintain that muscle mass. So gram protein for every pound of body weight, keep lifting weights, working out, and generally try not to lose too much weight too fast either. Like when you're cutting, a pound a week is great. Try not to go over that too much. 2 pounds maximum. And then overall, just don't sweat it that much. It's a lot easier to get down to a very low body fat percentage and then start slowly adding lean muscle mass back on if you need to, than it is to just try and shave only fat. You're going to lose a little bit of muscle when you're cutting weight. It's just the way it is, but it's not the end of the world. You can gain that muscle back, and you will gain that muscle back as you go back to maintenance level, maybe a slight caloric surplus, and keep working out. So excellent questions, Addy Red. I hope I helped you out. If not, please feel free to further refine your questions and comments for next week, and I'll help you out more as I can. Moving on, we have Son Goku, who already commented on Addy Red's question, but said, I'm new to your channel, and I would like to ask if there's any good meal plan you could suggest I should follow. To give you some information about myself, I'm a black belt in Taekwondo, and I found out that I have more energy for my hard workouts without having to put on weight. Oh, I found out that I want to have, I'm sorry, I missed that. I want to have more energy for my hard workouts without having to put on weight because I need a lot of agility in my sport. It'd be cool if you could help me out a bit. So go ahead to beagainecharacter.com. And you can look up basically any character that's on there. They're all going to link to a post, especially the more recent ones, called Macros and You. Go and check out that post and read up on it, because rather than just offering cookie cutter meal plans, I like to give you the tools that you need to outline your information yourself. If you, basically the rule of thumb is what I was talking about before, pound of protein, gram protein for every pound of body weight, but there's a lot more that goes into it as well. So go ahead and check that out, because there's a lot more than I could do in just one video here. It'd take a long time. So go ahead and check out Macros and You over on beagainecharacter.com, and I will leave the link in the description as well below this video. So that should outline everything for you. If you still have questions after that, you can email me, dan@beagainecharacter.com. I can help you out with any questions. And if you want like a really detailed plan, I also do paid coaching and nutrition plan services. So we can talk about that as well if it's interesting to you. If the Macros and You post is not quite what you're looking for, if you want like a full, huge nutrition plan, like a big, because I do coaching and personal training, if you want like a big nutritional workup for you, customized for you, I can do that for you as well. So let me know, dan@beagainecharacter.com if you want to email me. Otherwise, just check out Macros and You. So thank you for asking a question, Son Goku. Welcome to the channel. And I'm sorry, Addy Red, I know last week was technically your first questions, but welcome as well. I don't know if I said that. I love new people coming in and asking questions. You guys are awesome. Stick around. We're going to do more stuff. Moving on, speaking of people on the channel, we have Benny, Benrex777, who has been on vacation. Welcome back, Benny. Glad to see you again. I know you went back and went through all the old videos and left comments and stuff. I'm going to answer those in text, not here, because we got enough here as it is. But I'll go ahead and reply to those in text format at some point in the near future. But welcome back. Hello, Dan, I'm back. I don't have Facebook, and therefore I will not watch you live. Oh, no. I'll find some way to console myself. Question 71916. Now, Benny is going back and answering questions from previous videos. What fictional person has inspired you the most? I got my first computer at the age of 16, and I never really watched TV. The things I played with were plastic animals, Lego, and so on, but no specific comic figure, so I never had a childhood hero. That's all right. That's fine. Different strokes, different folks. I'm sure you had plenty of role models in your life outside of fictional characters. Question 72616. What is your least favorite food? There are some foods I don't like. For example, coffee, olive, or Greek food in general. Oh, I love coffee. How can you not like coffee? But I could eat those foods. It's probably just a mental thing. I really detest walnuts and soft cheeses. Ooh. And Brussels sprouts taste well if they're prepared well. Absolutely. I like peas. Blech. Question 8216. What do you think about the various Marvel comic book universe shakeups? Sorry, I don't know a lot about things, but it sounds strange. It is a little strange if you've been following comics your whole life, but strange is good. Change is good. Question 8, 9, 16. This is last week's question. What questions do you have about nutrition, anything you're unsure of? I often eat very one-sided. I eat a lot of bread, some meat, but very few vegetables and fruits. I eat 3 times a day and only water in between. Despite my unhealthy way of eating, I am 1.8 meters or 5.9 feet tall and 70 kilograms, 154 pounds heavy. I only do sports, parkour once a week or for 2 hours with breaks while training. What is your opinion of my lifestyle? If it works for you, it works for you. I mean, honestly, weight gain or weight loss, again, just comes down to calories, whether you're eating more than you burn or burning more than you eat. So if you're hovering where you're at and you're happy where you're at, that's fine. A lot of people worry too much about the foods that they're eating. Unless a doctor says you shouldn't be eating something, or unless, you're just eating straight junk food all the time, it doesn't matter as much as you think it does. Like, we're finding out more and more that eating a wide variety and not eating too much or too little is way more important than I have to make sure I got my salad every day. So don't sweat that too much. If it's working for you, it's working for you. I am always an advocate of adding more fruits and vegetables into your diet. So if you want to do that, go ahead and do that. And of course, red meat in particular is not great to eat a whole bunch, but it's fine. Eating a lot of bread, whatever, man. If you're not, if you don't have problems with bread, then bread is fine. A lot of people are really scared of, like various forms of carbs for some reason. And it's because of the diet industry that we talked about before. But carbs are not inherently bad. You need carbs to power your brain. You need carbs to power your body. So don't sweat that too much. It sounds like it's working for me. It sounds like it's working for you. So that's what I would say. Just keep doing what you're doing. 310, that's the 310 time marker in the video. You mentioned someone who has a third eye. I believe that was Tien Shinhan. I didn't go back and look at the video again, but it's got to be Tien because we were talking about Dragon Ball Z. In a lot of stories, the very strong people have a third eye. Do you know where the idea comes from? What kind of power another eye can give? Man, a spider with 8 eyes must be strong. So third eyes and the power of the third eye is a very common mythological trope. Lot of different myths feature people with third eyes that, and generally grants extrasensory perception of some sort. It signifies someone who can see beyond what other people can see. I don't know the root of it, but there is some sort of conspiracy theorist knowledge out there that, if you believe extrasensory perception type stuff, a lot of people believe that it originates from like right here in the middle of your forehead. Chakras, there's a chakra that rests right there. And in a lot of different mythologies and cult practices and pagan practices, there is emphasis on seeing through your mind's eye, which is generally right here. This is, in scientific sense, your frontal lobes are located right here, which is a big part of what makes you you. So that could potentially be part of the reason why we've placed such weight in it. So, I don't know. I'm not sure where it comes from. It's a thing that we see across multiple cultures, so it's got to have some sort of common root. And it could go all the way back to oral traditions that started back when we humans all kind of originated the same spot before we fanned out across the globe. So, I don't know. A spider with 8 eyes is probably about as strong as Spider-Man. But that's generally where the third eye thing is. It's all about extra perception. It's all about seeing beyond what you can see with 2 eyes. So that's where it's at. Whether you think it's a spiritual third eye that just sort of exists but you can't see it, or an actual third eye like there were people at one point that had an eyeball here, that's up to you. That's your personal beliefs, but it's just something that is very common throughout a lot of different mythologies. So, and I'm sure that's where, I don't think there was ever an explanation in Dragon Ball or Dragon Ball Z as to why Tien had 3 eyes, but it's just he had 3 eyes. And in Dragon Ball, at least, he was one of the most powerful people on the planet, besides Goku by the end of Dragon Ball, and Piccolo. But he was super strong and had, capabilities beyond that of any normal human. And even in Dragon Ball Z, he is well beyond what most normal people did. I mean, he even throws down with Cell with his tri-beam at one point, which is like one of my favorite scenes from Dragon Ball Z, where he, go watch it. Go look up Tien versus Cell. It's awesome. I love it. And then if you watch Dragon Ball Z Abridged with Team 4 Star, Look up the Team 4-star version as well because it is hilarious. I love it. It's so funny. The thing you said about gear was very interesting. That was my talk on steroids and whatnot. And now to the question for you. Do you think that we will be able to develop an AI which is capable of getting on one of your videos and unleash the Ultramind? We're already getting relatively close, I think. Watson, IBM's AI, apparently recently diagnosed a disease in Japan that was stymieing doctors over there. And he correctly diagnosed they named the AI Watson, so I'm attributing it to male, but I suppose it doesn't really have a gender. But Watson correctly diagnosed a disease in Japan that was stumping doctors, and they cured the guy because of it. So I think we're getting close. I think we're definitely going to see it in the next 50 years. I don't know if I'll still be running Unleash the Ultramind then, but we're going to see some serious AI advancement in the very near future. That's the next future. Robotics and artificial intelligence, that's the next horizon for humanity, besides space exploration and stuff like that. So should be super interesting. We're already developing AIs that can do a lot of specific tasks better than human beings. I think we're relatively close to an AI that can do generalized stuff as well as people, if not better. And there's some scariness involved there as well. You know, I don't think that robots are going to take over the world and stuff, but there's a lot of ethical questions to be asked in the arena of artificial intelligence. And there's a lot of safety questions to be concerned in the arena of artificial intelligence. And I know a lot of people that are way smarter than me are working on that right now. So hopefully they come out okay. I know Elon Musk is into that. I know Larry Page from Google is in, or is it Sergey Brin? I don't know. What are the Google guys into that? There's a lot of people that are working on AI type stuff right now. So we'll see where that shakes out. And Unleash the Ultramind, by the way, has been on hiatus for the past month or so. I apologize for that. Right after I undertook Unleash the Ultramind, I had a lot of personal stuff come up in my life over the summer. Still kind of dealing with it a little bit, but it's kind of ramped down. It's nothing like, it's not bad. I didn't have somebody die or anything like that, but just complicated stuff that required a lot of my time. So Unleash the Ultramind, I want to say it's coming back next week. I wanted to be coming back this week, going live today, but unfortunately I just ran out of time on that, and to be honest, I took a vacation because I really, really, really needed it. I went on vacation for like all of 2 days, but you know. So that's where we're at with Unleash the Ultramind. Should hopefully be back next week. If not next week, then absolutely the week after that. Have a nice week, Benny. Thank you, Benny. You have a nice week as well. I am glad to have you back. Super stoked. We had a great Q&A Tuesday this week. I was glad to round out with Benny there. Old standard, one of the original question askers on Q&A Tuesday. So glad to have you back, Benny. Hope your vacation was great. So your question for next week. Are you currently in the best shape of your life? Doesn't have to be like amazing shape, but like, are you in better shape now than you have ever been before? And if not, when were you in the best shape of your life? Tell me about it. I want to know about it. And I'm setting up, I'll admit, I'm setting up for something new that's coming down the pike. So tell me about either how you're in the best shape of your life right now and what you're doing for that, or what you were doing when you were in what you consider to be the best shape of your life. So let me know what's going on with that and what you think about that. And I want to hear your stories. And yes, I'm setting up for something. So next week, I'll tell you a little bit more about that. You should get excited. It's going to be pretty cool. So yeah, that's it. Thank you for watching. As always, remember to live boldly, change the world, and continue to be awesome.